Welcome to the Retail Reality Show.
Welcome to the Retail Reality Show. We're very happy to be recording our first episode. My name is Martin, and across from me is sitting Nino.
Hello, everyone. Greetings from Munich.
So I'm in Cologne, and as mentioned, my name is Martin, and our most important person in the show today is Takuji from Japan. So Takuji, are you doing well, and where are you checking in from?
Yeah, thank you for having me today. I was really looking forward to speaking with you all today. I'm from Tokyo, and I'm working for the B8ta Japan.
Great.
Perfect.
And I think you're CEO of B8ta Japan. I think that's important. So
yes.
And we are honored to have you.
Japan.
We are honored to have you in our first retail reality show. And I think I already said B8ta, assuming everybody knows. And I think one of the, let's say, key things that we want to kind of highlight in our podcast is we want to be easy, we want to be understandable, and we also want to check the reality. So first of all, before we deep dive too much, I think we need to onboard people and explain what is B8ta. How would you explain this to your mother, and why the hell is there an 8 in the name?
Yeah, so thanks. B8ta is, experiential retail store. So we founded in Silicon Valley 2020. And maybe we can talk about it later, but unfortunately, US operation was shut down just a few months ago. But Japan is doing pretty well. Our mission is retail design for discovery. So our main purpose is not selling the product inside of the store, but rather than that, we are actually offering the great experience and capturing all the behaviors data of the customers and what they actually mentioned about the product and the services for our clients. And the number of the 8 is in our logo. I heard we couldn't get the not license, trademark.
The domain.
Yeah, domain.
Okay, the trademark.
Trademark by using the B8ta. So the founders changed to the 8, and it's actually iconic. So I like it very much.
Yeah, it sounds good. They got creative.
Yeah,
it's unique. It's unique.
Yeah,
perfect. So maybe as a follow-on question to B8ta, and since probably not everybody knows it, maybe a lot of people that have heard of it, maybe from the US operations, maybe from you guys in Japan, but maybe you can give us a little walkthrough and maybe try to give the listener a very sensory experience. So maybe you can describe when you walk in, how is the interior design, how is the atmosphere, what type of products can you see? So maybe you can walk us through a little bit.
Sure. So once you get into the store, you can probably see the very relaxed and calm colors of design fixtures and everything. So our logo colored by black, and but our store is not using black as many as Dyson store where I used to work. So we are using the white fixtures mostly, and our customer can enjoy the relaxed feelings more. And 50% of B8ta Japan's product is probably gadget or the home appliance stuff. And another 25 is kind of cosmetics and also the food related products. And the rest of the 25 is bicycle and also like a motorcycle, not like a real motorcycle. It's an electric motorcycle, something like that. So our customers can actually enjoy the product and the services inside of the store. 50% of our products are sellable. So yeah, our customers actually can buy the stuff, and we don't get any margin from those revenues. So yeah, that's things. Yeah, it's pretty difficult to explain by only the your words, but that's it.
Yeah, I think you said something interesting. Retail design for discovery, and I think you just said 50% of the stuff in your store is sellable, and I think that's quite interesting, because if you talk to a retailer, at least the retailers I work with every day, 100%. I think they would love to sell 150%. So what is with the other 50%?
Well, so it depends on our partners who purchase our location. So, for example, if there is, let's say, the home appliance brands who wants to put their product into beta store, but probably like at 500 within the 500 meters, there is a huge mass retailers, and they don't want to cannibalize the thing. And in that case, they won't put their product in our store. And also, there is the product which is not yet on the market. For example, crowdfunding products is pretty popular here in our beta stores. So it's kind of a prototype they're putting into the store, and our customer cannot purchase yet, but they can see the products and the prototypes. And if they want to decided to fund those projects or not, those kind of thing is the rest of 50%.
Okay, so that means in reality, I walk into this store. It's beautiful. You said it's beautifully designed, relaxed feelings. I can have a look on gadgets, home appliance. Let's take maybe an example, Bosch. I want to have a look on the new Bosch home appliance or smart devices, whatever. Yeah. What's next? Is there someone explaining the stuff to me, or how can I imagine that?
Yeah. So next to the old products, there is a tablet, and in the tablet, the brands can actually manage what they want to say or put the pictures or videos and everything, even a QR code to send their customers into their web EC site. So what if our customer wants to speak with someone? Of course, we have a beta testers inside of the store. Each store has probably at the same time around 5 testers. So yeah, our guest is always welcome to do the deep dive of those experiences, the products and the services with customers, and they can actually ask whatever they want. And if they want to purchase in the store, of course they can purchase if we have stocks. But for example, if our customers is very keen on the pricing, we can actually offer our customers to check the EC site and checking the price, even send to the another store if it's cheaper. Or yes, we can do whatever we want because we don't care if our customers actually purchase inside of our store or not.
Mm-hmm. So maybe that was a question I had on my list. That it means essentially, if I like a product in your store, I can buy it there directly and take it home with me. And if I don't want to carry it, I'm maybe a lazy guy and don't want to carry the bags, then I can just have it sent home to my doorstep. And then, but the payment is all done through B8ta at that point.
Yeah, so we actually don't send or ship any products from our store to the customer's home. If our customer do not want to carry the product, we recommend to purchase our partner's website. So that they can actually get from their warehouse to their home, so they don't have to sell through the B8ta.
Okay. And maybe last question in terms of this checkout process. Do you also have a website where if I see it in your store and then maybe 2 days later I think about, I saw that at B8ta in Tokyo, for example, and then is there a web checkout functionality and then you do drop shipping through the brands, or how does that work?
Yeah, so we used to have our own EC site to sell our partners' product as well, but we actually noticed there is not such a big needs from our clients, since of course the most of our clients has the marketplace store like an Amazon store or even their own EC site, so they don't have to sell through our better EC site. But having said that, we have a product list on the EC side, so our customers actually can check the product list, what we are selling at the store at the moment. So if they get back to home and what wonders what was the product they cannot remember, and then they can actually check our website to see what was the product.
And with EC, you probably mean e-commerce, I guess, right?
Yeah, e-commerce, yes.
Okay. Okay.
So I think it's very interesting what you're saying. So if I summarize a little bit, and I think you're breaking with many paradigms of traditional retail, and I think one is you said 50% is only sellable, so it means it's rather a showroom than let's say a transactional space. And then I think it's also interesting you named a customer, not a customer or consumer, but you said guest. It's our guest, and I think that was very interesting. That tells me a lot about how you perceive someone in your store. Yeah, it's not an object you want to sell something to. It's a guest, and your goal is to explain the product properly, right?
Yeah, exactly. And even I don't call our staff as a staff. We call testers. So we call beta testers. So our testers will test the product with our guests. So yeah, that's the important thing.
That
Interesting.
makes sense. Yeah.
And so showroom, first paradigm, and I think the second, and I would say many chief sales officers or retail owners would kind of get gray hair. You said price comparison, so it's rather the checkout should happen somewhere else because you're not really caring about this, and people can maybe pick the cheapest price. I think that's also an interesting point of view you can have as a retailer.
Yes. Yeah. So that's because we don't get any revenue or margins from those sales. Our main sales is only purely coming from the placement fee for the monthly placement fee. So yeah, we are actually not retailers. We are more like a landlord of the store. So we just cut it into the pieces of the stores and put the placement tag, and our customers actually can rent those small spaces to pay the rent. Yeah. So
So it's almost like sorry, I just wanted to ask. So it's also, you say landlord, but also probably the brands are perceiving it as a marketing channel offline, right?
Exactly. So we are the marketing platform. Whenever I introduce, we are actually calling us as a marketing platform of offline. Our business model, we are calling retail as a service model, RaaS model. So place for product of discovery and experience, everything through the customer services, product understanding, those things.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I just mentioned paradigm break, and I think you described it again. Let me repeat: retail design for discovery. I think that was the first very interesting part that we just went into more detail. And I think the second thing you just mentioned in a small sentence, and that's data capture. And again, from my Nino reality, my Nino retail reality, discussing with many of my customers, I think most of the time, as good as it gets is a frequency counter when you enter a store. So they know exactly how many people come in the store, how many leave, and then they calculate like an average revenue per consumer, and maybe conversion rates and so on. But I guess there is much more in your world when you talk about data, right?
Yeah, so we have two types of the cameras inside of the store. And for example, one of our biggest stores in Tokyo is how big? About 250 square meters. And in that store, we have around 25 cameras, I believe. And those camera captures all the customers' actions. For example, of course, we are capturing the number of the traffic, how many visitors actually came to our stores, and also the AI cameras recognize how old they are, and also the genders is captured. The other thing is in front of the fixtures, if for example, our guest is passing through our fixtures, we call it impressions. So, and the 5 seconds, if our customers stopped, stand in front of the fixtures, we count automatically as a discoveries numbers, number of demonstrations, and also, our beta testers captures all the feedbacks verbally. So it's qualitative and quantitative data is captured into our dashboard a lot. Yeah.
So it even sounds like you're measuring the store like a website, right? If you say impression,
Exactly.
and on the website it's a page impression. This is a beta store impression. That's the currency. Okay.
Exactly. So you can see the conversion rate, discovery versus demonstration, and demonstration versus gross units sold. Yeah, something like that.
So maybe one questions towards this. You mentioned your main part of the business model is the placement fees, right? So we with Blank, we have been experimenting with charging the brands by performance. So through the analytics, seeing how many views and engagements are being generated, and then charging per view or per engagement. Is this something that you guys have also experimented with or planning to do?
Not really in Japan. Probably US did something like that. But with my retail experiences, I believe in Japan, we should offer the fixed rent kind of model, not relying on the performance. For example, the sales revenue share, or even the number of the traffic. I wanted to simply offer the fixed rent model.
Simple and not too new for the brands, right? So they don't have to think into any new models.
Exactly. Yeah.
I quickly want to come back to this data aspect because I want to fully understand it. So one is the cameras. I get it. Okay, you measure conversion rates, and you said store impressions that you give back to the brands for them to optimize. We can come to that later. And then you said it's also more of a, let's say, qualitative feedback that your testers, as you call your store associates, give. How do you do that? I mean, the typical store associate is very busy, doesn't have a device over here in our world. How can you at scale record qualitative feedback?
Yeah, that's a great question. At the beginning, we every time our testers speak to our guests, they always get back to the back end of the store and types, by each one by one. But that was taking so long time. So we modified and try and error and so many things. So now they're using the smartphone. Right after they did the talks and everything, they record by the voice to our smartphone, and then at the end of the store operation time, we just put the old data into servers, and it's automatically uploaded.
Okay, and then transcribed, and then kind of aggregated, analyzed.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So if someone says, hey, I like the color, but I don't like the weight, then you would record it, and that would be information that the brand gets in the end.
Yeah.
Okay. And they value that obviously.
Yeah.
The brands.
Right? Because I'm just, I also work a lot with brands, and if you think about direct to consumer, many of the companies don't have their own store. And I think direct to consumer is, in a sense, their savior somehow, because they get to know their consumers and get all of a sudden, let's say, a little bit of a feedback channel. But this is another level, right? That you are just describing. That's in-depth, at scale product feedback.
And also no bias because our beta tester came from their brand itself. So they can honestly speak, if our customer don't like, they said, I don't like this. it's yeah, not happening a lot in Japan. So yeah, culturally. So it's
Maybe
fun.
one more question from my side in terms of the data collection, because I know here in Germany and probably in most European countries, it's not that easy to collect data from people, right? Especially when it
Yeah.
gets unique. So here in Germany, we need to watch out for collecting the data anonymously. So all we know is that a person came in and was looking at this product for that long, etc. How is it in Japan, and how are you aiming to get most unique data for the brands? Because I'm assuming the more unique and the more personalized, the more valuable for the brand, right?
Yeah, exactly. I understand how strict the GDPR is, and Japan is not that strict yet, but it's coming for sure. And we actually did not connect all the, for example, gender data to, how to say, we don't personalize the data. So, for example, our customers, guest A is coming to the store, and we recognize this person is a person, but we don't follow this person is going this way or stopping this products or not. We just count one customers is out walking around the store, and it's not directly personalized and connected to those face recognitions and anything.
Okay.
If I don't know if I can correctly explain, but yeah.
No, I think we understand. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's you're not following them and connecting the impressions across the store.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
I guess you delete the data afterwards and not store it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So if we want to connect it, probably we need to ask all customers to sign or opt in, opt out options, and it's pretty tough. So yeah, we don't do that.
Speaking also of data, do you also have kind of a CRM or kind of a loyalty program where you kind of address your customers, or you're not calling them customers, you're calling them guests?
Yeah.
Do you remind them of new products, new events, whatever?
Yeah. So we are using kind of Japanese version of the WhatsApp called Line. Yeah, our guest can add as a friend of the Line accounts of B8ta, and we can just send the reminder and the event information. And the other thing is we have our own apps for our Shibuya store, one of the Tokyo store. Through that apps, we can push some information too. So sometimes we do that too.
Great. Very, very interesting. I have one pressing question when I listen to you, next to all the interesting things you told me. How do you take your employees, you call them testers, on that journey? Because again, if I think in my reality, there are store associates in grocery, in fashion, in luxury, and depending, let's say, on the margin, it's also somehow influencing how much time they can spend with the consumer, and also training and all the other things, salary and so on. So how do you take the employees on that journey when it comes to training, compensation, and so on? Because I think this would be really interesting also for our listeners, who are many retailers and brands.
Yeah. So I strongly believe our key differentiator with other retailers is actually our staff, beta testers. So they are very diversity team from so many different backgrounds. Of course, some of them are from apparel brands or luxury brands, or even like Apple, Dyson, those kind of brands. Some of them are just a pianist or artist and never had a retail experience. Some of them is from cafe, Starbucks, something like that. So we are really the mix of everything, and our training manual is like a 500 pages. So
Whoa.
yeah, we built and put so much effort, and we finally could hire one trainer for full time, and he and myself is developing the training program to our new joiner for every time. So we do the core training for the brands and how to engage our customers when they get into the stores, and how we can actually get the feedbacks from our customers effectively. It's sometimes tough. So how to say even greeting, or how we can get the good feedback and also the bad feedbacks. And those are actually in our training manual. So
to not take it personal, right? And start defending. If someone says something negative, I don't like the thing.
And in that case, how you should act or reaction should be this, like those kinds of things are in the training.
How would you react if I say, hey, Takuji, I don't like the camera? Well, why do you show that?
Well, really, I like
that's
it.
terrible.
Why?
It's not innovative.
Wow, that's a great opinion or something like that.
Very good. Cool.
That's very good. Yeah. So speaking from experience, I think staff and training them is very difficult, especially if you have a lot of products, right? You said you have many of pages. Did you say 500 pages, something like this? So I could imagine that's a lot of input, right, for the mind of the person. How do you make sure that they can remember so many things? And do you cluster your staff in different categories? So maybe Nino has these 10 products and Takuji has these 10 products, or does everybody know all of the products?
Yeah. So we tried several types that as well. The first, of course, we separate it as a category. So you are the cosmetic guy, you are the gadget lady, something like that. But it won't work because almost every month we switch to the new product and services. So of course some months has all gadget, let's say, for example, and this month all cosmetics, this month all apparel. In that case, we cannot separate it well. So we don't make any specialists for the categories yet. So at the end, everyone should learn everything. Of course, it's the tough one, but we chose to do that. And I believe it's working pretty well at the moment. By using the online study, it's kind of services or apps. So we put all the information and make creating the quiz for each brand or products. Why this brand is created by who or something like that. And there's mission, vision, values, and the history of the product and something like that.
Great. Perfect. So let's proceed with our next category of the podcast. So our show is called the Retail Reality Show. So of course we want to do the reality check with you, Takuji.
This is the reality check.
So let's face it, right? B8ta comes from the US, and you mentioned they closed their shop. So this is interesting at one point. And then on the other side, we've been having a pandemic across the whole globe. Not just in Europe, but in Japan and all over the world. And of course, retail has suffered from this, and also traffic has suffered. So this is reality, right? So we want to hear from you in terms of your reality. How do you see this at the moment, and what makes you confident that B8ta will succeed in Japan, and especially in the stationary retail or experience, like you would say?
Thanks. That's, I think, great question. So, unfortunately, B8ta US it's closed their models. But first of all, I think B8ta's business model worked well in US. But unfortunately, timing was really bad because of the pandemic. They had 23 stores in the US, and if pandemic hits, it's really tough to run the 23 stores during the pandemic. So if Japan has 23 stores, probably it was a bit difficult to maintain, to be honest. that said, our first 2 stores opened at the same timing in Japan. That was August 2020. And it's just the beginning of the pandemic in Japan. And everyone said, wow, brave move. But well, of course, everyone's not so sure how pandemic will, take long. And even that was before the Tokyo Olympics happened. And so we really want to open before that. But at the end, postponed the Tokyo Olympics, everything. But even before the pandemic, not only in Japan, but everywhere, like a traditional department store or the shopping mall was very suffering from their business model because of the e-commerce site is rising up and everything, right? So they are looking for some alternatives, and B8ta could get into the Japan market with strong brand images and new business model or as a retail as a service model. So our go-to market strategy was creating the category in Japan. So there is no category of the retail as a service, so no followers at the beginning. So I put the full effort to get the awareness of the B8ta at the beginning, and at the end, we pursue about 1,500 media coverage within 2 years. So that was the great result. So yeah.
1,500 articles and clippings and stuff like that?
Articles, clipping, TV, shows, all combined.
Great.
The number was 1,500. So I could say we could create the categories already because so many other players are willing to do kind of the same stores types in Japan too. Probably around 5 to 6 stores is just born last 12 months. So I feel like we are welcome to Japan market. So hopefully we can do the expansion to not only in Japan but the other areas. I mean Tokyo, but other areas. And let's see.
Cool.
So maybe one question before Nino, you go ahead. In terms of traffic, so in Germany we feel like the traffic has kind of came back, right? Since the masks have calmed down and the numbers are getting better, but at the same time people are still getting infected, etc. So now it's summer, of course. Maybe people don't shop as much during the summer, but generally the trend is that the traffic is coming back to what it used to be, but the behavior is still a little bit different. So maybe you can just quickly touch on that, how it is in Japan for our listeners. How is it working with the traffic?
Yeah, so we cannot compare before COVID, after COVID thing yet in Japan. And also our B8ta store was not opening before COVID. So we are actually living with COVID. Traffic was, of course, occasionally that was low a bit, but now it's getting back. For example, our fourth store opened in this April. We welcome 35,000 guests within 20 days. So I could say traffic is back.
Devil's Advocate.
Hey, even though traffic is back now, the world is getting more digital and people kind of have learned in the pandemic to shop online. Maybe now they just go to the other extreme. They want to get back to reality, meet people and so on. But digital is here to stay, and also the growth rates show that e-commerce is still on the rise. Why do we need physical stores anymore?
Yeah, I mean, we can both survive, I believe. For example, of course, everyone goes to the online store. So now it's more like a red ocean, even compared with the before COVID. It's getting tough and tough situation. All the advertisement cost is getting higher and higher. So if for example, our partners wants to put their banners, online banners, it's probably more expensive than putting their product into our beta store placement for a month. So if you can, if you compare with all the numbers, impressions, everything, we probably offer pretty good number here as well. You can guess, right? Because if we welcome 35,000 people in 20 days, it's quite a lot. And also, our customer actually can enjoy the serendipity into the store, so they can coincidentally meet new product or services they can probably not find in online. It's difficult to explain, but of course they can find in online, but if they don't know the words or keywords, they probably cannot reach something, right? But in the beta store, they can meet some products coincidentally. So those serendipity is pretty fun to experience. So we always welcome our guests to just walk around and see the products like web net surfing. But yeah,
I fully agree. Serendipity. I think you said showroom. I think that those are two reasons for visiting a store, finding new things. I think it's hard to stumble upon something new if you scroll through a endless page of products on a website. So I fully agree, and I also like what you said. Impressions, and so you basically compared the advertising cost with store impressions, which is kind of retail as a media outlet, which is also an interesting point of view. So if advertising costs in digital rise, and that's a fact right now, and probably that's going on, that trend, and will get worse. So I think that also an interesting angle you can look at this. Maybe with the landlords bringing down the leases again, this can maybe also be a very interesting way to look at it, a media outlet of a retail store, which can be cheaper. And also, I discussed this also with many of my customers, the store as a customer acquisition channel. If you do it wisely, find new customers and get them in your CRM database. I think that could be a very cost-effective way.
Yeah, exactly. Even for our one of our guests is B2B database platform services. So they captured all the business card inside of the store. So if our customers are having the interest to those their database services, they put their business card. So their business person can actually contact to those who has an interest. So it's like a lead generation channel.
Very good. If we play a little bit time capsule, and let's say we fast forward and we leave a little bit the beta.
Time capsule.
And not just look at beta, but let's say retail stores in general. And I'm not talking only about Japan, but the globe. What would be your take on the retail store in 2030? If you compare it today, highly transactional, with everything we discussed, and now 2030, what would you say? What will change, and how would the store look like?
I think stores still remain kind of the same way, but with more collaborative with the online store. So of course, buy online and pick up at store should be one of the key things. And right now, for example, the big traditional brands are kind of those online and offline channels. They're trying to combine as an omni-channel, but they're still kind of divided. And so those things should be merged as one. And also, metaverse is coming up. So we actually have a virtual beta store. It's kind of a metaverse store we created, and it's fun to use right now. But probably 2030, it should be more. I don't know how to say it, but beneficial to our users. So those things are coming up for sure. All stores should be more experiential store, and even for the restaurant, I think those will be the more experiential focus store in 2030. That's my opinion.
Maybe quick question also in this regard. If we think around beta Japan and maybe also other countries, right? Whatever your expansion strategy is, maybe you can give us some thoughts on how beta your company will look in the next years and maybe in 2030. And also, is it just retail or is it also maybe other places like airports or I don't know, shopping malls, etc.?
Yeah, so we got lots of attentions from basically everywhere. Thanks for the great PR coverages. One of the areas I want to get into is, of course, airport is one because people needs to kill in some time. At the same time, train station because there's a traffic, and pop-up store styles is what we want to try for second half of this year. We're gonna open 3 pop-up store in Osaka, Nagoya, and other areas. Yeah. So, but Japan is small country, no, right? So we are not planning to open like a 100 store inside of Japan, but we should probably start thinking to sell our business model itself with, for example, with software and also hardware. So everyone can do the digital digital transaction. No. Yeah, anyway. So it can digitalize the store. Yeah. For
transform it, yeah.
Yeah. Then digital transformation, yes. So that's our next probably steps.
Cool, sounds good and very exciting. So we are coming to our next category, so we thought, who can do the best reality check, right? And if it's not us, maybe it's some old person, because usually old people, they're really straightforward. They're asking all this digital stuff, and they're kind of bringing us back down to earth. So we kind of want to introduce, we call it Tante Emma in German. So it's kind of like the grandma Emma or Aunt Emma. And so we wanted to introduce her and then ask you a question that she would ask. So maybe Nino, you can continue with what we think she would ask.
Sure. The guy who looks older needs to play Tante Emma.
I didn't say that.
So,
Und was meint Tante Emma dazu?
Aunt Emma is roughly 85 years old. She's quite old. She has been through a lot and has seen a lot. And I think, and that, in our opinion, that's a very good reality. It's even a sanity check. And she has I would say, very blunt and very experienced view on the world. And she's not very digital. And if you take just that one question from Aunt Emma, like, my grandchildren spend 99% of their time in front of their smartphones. I want to see how you get them to visit your store. What would you say? How do you get the young generation who is just in front of the smartphone to your store?
Well, I think I will probably just simply offer the great events with those. Even the game is fine with the smartphone. If they coming to the store, they can get a special icon or items in the smartphone games. I mean, yeah. How to say? It's easiest way to just get those kids into the store. Even today, our Japanese great game brand is doing something like that, right? Nintendo is offering the free Pokemon in the store if you're coming to the store, something like that. So yeah, great experience through the events should be the answer from mine.
So a great experience. And also, I think you mentioned gamification, right? Is it maybe augmented reality? So they can collect something, maybe even because you mentioned metaverse. Maybe it's an NFT, a POAP that they can collect, and then some benefit that they can only get coming, right?
In the store, yeah.
So, Aunt Emma, I hope you're happy with that answer.
I think maybe I could also picture Tante Emma she comes from a generation where people actually meet, right? So not digitally, but they meet each other and they're very social and they talk and they hang out and they have a good time. So do you see a counter trend with all this digital stuff going on and people being locked in their houses, that people want to come back out, they want to meet people, they want to be having real experiences, authentic, and they want to touch upon all of their senses? Do you also see a trend there that just people want to get more social and have a good time in real life?
Yeah, I see that. Even yesterday, last night we have a small events inside of one of the stores. I was doing the bartender for the beer brands, which called the Suntory. So they are planning to launch the new product in coming November this year. So they are doing a test marketing inside our store. So they want to, know how our customers react to their new products, and we get all the data. I noticed so many people actually joining our events, and they are missing the community. And I was happy to run those kind of events, just kind of start creating the new community, a beta community in our store. So people working after work, we start around 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Just stopping by and drink one beer and just go home, and give us great feedback or bad feedback actually also, and start talking with each other. And those stuff is really heartwarming, let's say, with this COVID era. So that was good.
Definitely.
Great. And thank you for confirming. That's one of my big, I would say, bets also for the future of a store. It's experiential. You said that now multiple times, but it's also social. Meeting people, it's community. And I think this will also be something, it's already happening. If you look at Adidas, for example, Runners Club, they meet where? In a store.
Yeah.
I was in Munich in the Burton store. They have a Facebook group and they rally people to introduce them to new snowboards. Rougher cycling club. I think there are many concepts already that touch community, and that would be my bet for 2030. So it will be much more community driven.
Yeah, I totally agree too.
Great. Maybe if we zoom out a little bit, and we talked a lot about now B8ta and Japan, and I think we have many listeners now also from Europe, and since we are from Germany. So, what would you say in terms of digital savviness? I would say Japanese people are considered as very tech savvy, very compared to Germany, a little bit ahead. What would you say? What kind of effect does this have on retail innovations? Would this work in a world where people are maybe a little bit less tech savvy?
Well, probably the image of the Japanese is tech savvy, but we are a bit defined if we're speaking about the retail side. Our e-commerce using, ratio is still low. Home appliance, about 32% of Japanese population is purchasing home appliance through the online store, but only 2% for groceries. That was before the pandemic numbers. So still, we are just going to the supermarket on foot or by car, by train, and purchase it. So we are pretty behind on that part. Not so familiar with new stuff, Web3 and Metaverse, but it's booming here in Japan. Probably not only in Japan, but I need to catch up a bit, but those are trends.
Okay, so I think when it comes to grocery shopping, what you just mentioned, I think we are very similar. I think people over here like to go to the grocery store, at least at the moment. And that changed in the pandemic a little bit. But good to hear. So I think we are very, very, very similar.
So maybe to kind of get an idea of what Japanese people think about Germans, maybe there's some stereotypes. What do you think? And in this way, rather positive stereotypes. What do you think? Maybe there's some deficits in Japan about certain things, and do you feel like there's some things you could learn from the German culture or maybe from the European culture that could help with retail and with the things that are going on in commerce? Do you have some ideas?
Yeah, so I pursued my MBA in France, so I have some ideas about Europe overall. Of course, I have a German classmate, so from my idea of Germany is kind of his,
He is Germany
characters.
for you.
yeah, behavior. So
No, it's getting
very
interesting.
straightforward. Yeah, very straightforward, fair, on time, always. That was really appreciated from the Japanese side. On time, German, Japanese.
Just not the trains.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That's an insider in Germany. The trains are usually not on time, even though we like to be on time, but just on the side note.
Shinkansen is ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the Shinkansen is every 2 minutes. It's coming from on time, punctual. So, yeah. Other thing is, of course, car manufacturer is really strong. Yeah, when I was choosing the MBA program, I was looking for the new coming up business school in Berlin, and that was very focusing on the connection with those car manufacturer like a BMW and others. So that was very interesting. I never been to Germany because Germany is a huge country. So I'm saving that for my next trip. Yeah.
Here is an official invite. Please join.
Yeah.
Please come visit us.
Yeah.
We will do
for sure.
We will do a retail reality check with you in Germany and check out some stores.
Yeah, with beer, for sure.
Yeah, with beer.
Absolutely.
With beer. That sounds good.
Very good. This is going really well.
Yeah, I think so. We have here, we're coming towards the end, Takuji. So you're nearly being released into your evening. So we're very thankful that you are with us here in the evening on a Friday. So for all the listeners, Takuji after work is coming in here and doing the podcast with us. So we don't want to keep you too long, but we do have a last category, and it's called our red buzzer. So you want to pull the handbrake and do a small further retail reality check. Most founders start out in the retail business with great ambitions. As myself, I could say, doing it with Blank. So if you could think back, or now looking back, what is the one thing that you would want to know before you start into the retail business with B8ta, or maybe even before that with I know you were at Dyson and other companies, but is there something that you would have wanted to know before starting in?
Great question. So, yeah, of course, COVID, but no, that's not interesting answer. So, it's retail business is time consuming and also the not very cost effective one. But if I knew from the beginning, probably I won't get into that much. So yeah, probably those two things, and time consuming and not cost effective one. But it's fun to create something with the team, and through those tough challenges, we could create a new thing and also the interesting one. So that's one of the most important barriers to get over with. But at the same time, if I know before, probably I will choose online career. Joking.
But I think you said one important thing. It's fun. I think that's also why Martin and myself are doing this, the retail reality show, because we are working in retail from two different angles, but I think we all enjoy it. I grew up in a retail, so I have fun since I joined this world. So I think that's the most important thing, to have fun, because then you have the endurance and the stamina to make it successful.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time, Takuji. That was really appreciated. And thanks for the deep insight.
I think that's a good closing. that's a good closing, right, Nino? Having fun and just the way you said it, Takuji, I also feel like we can end it here, and it seems like that's a good point, right?
Great.
And also, just one thing that popped into my head: you said you're a bartender, or you can be a bartender if you like. Sometimes, getting Suntory beer. So I think me and Nino maybe have to come over to Japan as well, and then drink a beer with you in the B8ta store, and then have a Suntory.
Deal.
Let's do that.
Let's catch up in fall.
Okay, so one more time, Takuji, it's been a great pleasure. Thank you so much for taking your time on this evening to being our guest on the Retail Reality Show. And thanks a lot.
Thank you also from Aunt Emma.
Thank you.
I should say
bye.
Hello from Aunt.
The Retail Reality Show with your hosts, Martin and Nino, is presented by Blank and Salesforce. For more information, check out our website, retailrealityshow.com.